is just so apparent that you hear his voice so well. I love, and he gives you such, great words to go off of, in whether it's reprimanding you in a little bit, correcting is probably a better word, or, pushing you forward. How did you develop that?
I think that came at a young age. I really do. Wow. And it's funny that you bring that up, because recently I've just been like, I can't hear you as good as I did last year. Or, it's almost like a season where I have to fight a little harder for it, because I've known it, because, I've tasted that intimacy with him in the times where I don't feel it. I'm like, I'm hungry for it. But I really think a lot of it came from my mom and the foundation she laid in our home. I didn't know my dad at all. And, she was very awesome at answering questions when I had them. And she honored my dad. She never painted him as any kind of a monster. But she always used that opportunity to direct me to my Heavenly Father. And so I had an early understanding that, well, I have a Father in heaven. And almost in this innocence, just I was like, okay. And that was good enough for me. And so it's been later in life that I sort of have dealt with some of the, I want a daddy type thing. But the Lord and I just had this really unique relationship at a really young age, where I think I just learned to listen and trust. And I'm so thankful, because it's been so challenged down the road, just to trust and listen. Right. It's so opposed. Exactly. But man, I got it at at like 10. I was, God. But it's just amazing how life experience and, even losing some of the innocence as a child, still longing to have that innocence with my Abba,
Yes. And he really drew you close to him.
He did. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of that was protection. And, maybe we'll never know why he does that for some and not others. But he just protected me. In so many ways I see how he just kind of just sheltered me in the palm of his hand. And, my mom used to joke that I had Stephanie world. I was just oblivious to the world around me. Yeah. And my roommates could testify that I still kind of resort to Stephanie world sometimes. But in many ways, that's just how he fashioned me. Yeah. And I think that, obviously in perspective and with healthy accountability, I don't just live there. Yeah. But he protected me by just kind of making me that way.
Yeah, and now looking back, you can see how God's been faithful.
Yes.
Because it takes, sometimes you're like, oh, that's what he was doing 5 years ago. 10 years ago, and he was preparing me, in this way and doing that, moving in my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. No, another thing I just want to say I love, as you've talked, is you know so many characteristics of God.
Yeah.
It's so personally.
Yeah.
He's fun, he's my protector. You know him from so many angles, and I think that's another thing that we can, allow others to see into and view and hunger for themselves. I find myself right now hungering. I think we've come through a real busy, challenging season, and I find myself hungering for him to be my daddy again. Yeah. You go through seasons. But right now I'm sitting here going, okay, I want you as my daddy again for a season. I want to go, I just want to go rest. I just want to go home and be sheltered for a while. And just hearing you talk and share has brought that up. I know it's doing that in others, and it's awesome.
That's so neat.
It's like knowing God in his fullness. He kind of gives us a piece of him here through our experiences, right?
Yeah.
And then he allows this here so he can show you who he is in that.
Yeah. And even looking at my failures, because I've known great failure in my life. I really have. I've messed up. But I saw the redeeming side of God through that. I saw him as in this whole new light that I hadn't seen before, even in a season of pride and rebellion. I got to see God once I said, oh my gosh, this is not who I want to be. Lord, let's start from a foundation up again. He said, okay, that's all I needed. And he just restored, and he redeemed a lot that, I had screwed up. And I know that side of him now. I know. It was just okay, whoa, I've made a mess. And, one thing Toby talks about in his show that I don't know if you could tell, but I look up to him a little bit. But he talks about how we can spend so much time walking away from God that when we do hear that small voice, or when we do hear the invitation that God is there, we go, I don't want to walk through all that crap that I just, and he says that's not how it is. You just turn. You just get the energy to go, okay, God, and he's right there.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Exactly.
And, I've known that. I really have.
Yeah.
And what a reminder, because there are times or days where I start to stray, and then I'm like, well, I kind of blew it today, and the temptation is to just avoid him then.
Yeah. I know.
To go, well,
he's not going to want me.
Yeah. Right. Or stop bothering Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, haven't you been working on this for a while?
Yeah.
I love you for you.